Live on the telephone, we got Mr. Arjen Lucassen. Hi there.
Hi, Andreas.
So, hey, sehr gut, and I hope you're good as well. You're fine as well. I guess you have been doing a lot of interviews in the last couple of weeks.
Definitely, yeah. I can't complain.
Okay, so thank you very much for spending some minutes with us, and let's go right into the topic. You have a new album out there called Lost in the New Reel, and so was it clear from the beginning that this album was finally gonna be the record on which you were about to sing all of the songs, or did you also think about having some guest musicians on this one?
Well, I've been trying to do this for the last 10 years, really. all the last albums I made were going to be the solo album. And then I'm working on it, and then I think like, oh my God, Russell Allen would be great in this part, or Bruce Dickinson would be great in this part, or Jorn Lande would be great. And before I know it, I've invited all these guests, and it's not a solo album anymore. But this time I was like, damn it, I'm 52 now. I gotta do that solo album. I gotta do it now. So I told everyone I would pay them like $100 if I would invite other singers. So I had to stick to it.
So you finally made it, and it's out there. And what first comes to your mind, or what first strikes your mind, is the narrator. So Rutger Hauer,
right.
and you also had a video where you were really excited about having Rutger Hauer on this project. So every song starts with a small narrated introduction by Rutger Hauer. So was this also clear from the very beginning that every song is gonna start like this, or did you then create this when you knew, okay, I got Rutger Hauer?
No, from the beginning it wasn't clear. I had like 15 songs and they were all completely different, so many different styles. And then I was jogging and I was thinking like, I should make a concept out of this, and somehow tie all the songs together, because they're so different and it's going to be a mess if I don't do that. So then I thought, of a story, and I thought I need a narrator. And the first person I had in mind was Rutger Hauer, because I'm a huge fan, ever since I was 10 years old. I've been watching his stuff on TV, and and the moment I had Rutger, it was like a dream come true. And yeah, you're right, he did little intros between all the songs, which he wrote himself, by the way. That was very cool.
Oh, that's interesting. So you gave him the lyrics of the song, and he created the intro?
I gave him the lyrics, and I gave him the music. And I gave him the words he had to say, but he didn't give a shit. He was like, I'm not going to do that, I'm going to do my own thing. Which is cool, because that makes it very real, of course.
Okay, we will come to the lyrical concept in a minute, and I would like to go through all of it's 15 songs of the album. So because I thought, it was too hard for me to pick just 2 or 3 songs to talk about, because I know that the lyrical concept is always something really important to you, and you already mentioned that this time you were influenced by science fiction movies. You also mentioned Rutger Hauer, and especially Blade Runner.
Right.
So, what was so influential about the Blade Runner movie that you thought, I need to make an album with something?
Well, it's like the amazing atmosphere. I'm not a fan of action movies. I don't really like action movies or lots of blood or lots of fighting. But it's the whole atmosphere of that movie and the whole mood, and it's like. And of course, Rutger Hauer's part is amazing. He should have got an Oscar for that, I always say. And Harrison Ford is one of my favorite actors. And yeah, everything about that movie was right, the look of it and everything. And there are a lot of references to the Blade Runner story and my story. Basically, the most important question in Blade Runner is what's real and what is not real.
Yeah.
And it's the same in my story. In the future, can you still tell what's real and what is not real? So that's the big reference between the two.
Okay, so as I told you, as I said, I would like to have a closer look at all of the songs, or not close, but well, we got 15 songs, and then we, of course, have to take a look at the watch a little bit. But let's start with number one, the new reel. There it says, I remember dreaming of the second chance, I remember dying. Right. So dreaming of a second chance, I just wrote down one keyword, rebirth. So do you think that the idea of being there once again is something that well, seems to be attractive for you?
No, but this is a very realistic story. You know, it's not about reincarnation or anything. It's about a guy who has a terminal disease, and he freezes himself cryogenically. You know, this is happening in the world. You know, a lot of people are doing that in the hope that in the future they can be saved. You know, they can be awoken and their disease can be cured. Let's say you have a cancer, you know, you just freeze yourself because you're going to die anyway. And there's a small chance that in the future they may be able to revive you. So that's what happens to our main character, Mr. L. He freezes himself, and a couple of 100 years from now he wakes up to a completely different world, which I call the new reel. So that's what the first song is about.
Okay, then it goes on with Pink Beatles and Purple Zeppelin, of course. You might everyone might recognize some band names, and it starts with every song's been sung before, every note's been played. So was this also something that you sometimes experience, or maybe experienced during writing new songs? And you think, I don't know, this has been there before.
Oh yeah, it's like, I got a great idea, and I think, shit, I already did that before. Or, this is a cool riff. Oh no, that's Black Sabbath, you know. It gets harder and harder, and we're only 50 years in music history, you know. If you go back to the 60s, and already now it's hard to create new music. So I was thinking, like, what about in a couple of 100 years, you know? How hard will it be then? And then I was thinking, maybe in those days, you know, you have this computer, or maybe sooner than that, you have a computer where you just punch in your favorite bands, in this case, Pink Floyd, Beatles, Purple, Led Zeppelin. And the computer just makes a song for you, tailor-made, in the style of these four bands. I think maybe not even in 100 years, and I think this will be possible in maybe 10 or 20 years already.
This is, I guess, also the reason why you're saying the song sounds so right, feels so wrong. So maybe it sounds good, but it doesn't make any sense.
Right, I had that with a lot of bands. I think, this is great, it sounds great, but somehow I don't feel it. You know, maybe because I already heard it before, I don't know.
Okay, let's move on. We got the next one, parental procreation permit. There is a line or two lines. If you want to create life, you've got to be qualified. Yeah. Now you need to earn it. So do you often think about, if we want to go on living in the future, how could we train people to be responsible?
I think it's going to be pretty drastic in the future. You know, already in China now, people are only allowed to have one kid. I think if you wake up 100 years from now or a couple 100 years from now, you're going to be astounded, you know, at some of the changes that have been made. And one of those changes could be, you know, because there's a huge population, too much population, you know. So population control, maybe in the future, you know, you got to have a permit to get a child. Who knows? You know, I think there's going to be some scary, drastic measures they're going to take in the future. And I'm only guessing here, you know. I'm not saying that's what will happen, or not, I'm not saying that's what I want to happen. It's just giving options, basically.
And the next song is When I'm 164.
Right.
And, you already mentioned, you're 52, and now you have to do this. Well, the press info that I have states you're 51, so now you're 52. Getting older, does this put some pressure on you so that you think, there are so many things I want to do and I can't wait?
Not really. No, I like the way time is going. I have no problems with getting older. Not at all. I was just thinking, you know, if people get older all the time, you know, in the last 50 years, you know, we already get like 10 or 20 years older. And I think in a couple of 100 years, you know, when they all can also control the diseases, maybe people will all be over 100, you know. And I'm thinking, of course, this is a play with words. It's based on the Beatles song "When I'm 64," and I made it when I'm 164. You know, I'm guessing that if you get that old, you know, you'll get bored at some time. You know, when you're 150, you're going to be like, "Hey, man, I've had it by now. Goodbye, I'm leaving."
Okay.
So that's basically what that's about.
The next one is E-Police, and may I quote just a little bit, say, "Stay clear, the E-Police is here to watch every move you make 24 hours a day." And you're referring to electronic police, so some police that watches you on the internet.
Right.
So, freedom on the internet, of course, is an important thing, but especially to you, for you as a musician, you might also suffer from illegal downloads.
Definitely.
So, what is your personal idea of freedom on the internet? Should there be complete freedom, or how could we somehow just have some measures that not everything is possible?
I think something should happen, yeah, because you know, for musicians it's getting really, really hard, and not just musicians. You know, the whole entertainment business. I mean, movies as well. You know, you can download everything for free. And I think that a couple 100 years from now, they'll laugh at that, you know. They'll think like, oh, yeah, back then you could do anything you wanted, you know, but that has changed. But having said that, you know, what are you going to do about it? And in E-Police, I'm having this Big Brother situation, this George Orwell situation where the police is controlling everything, which is not good either, you know. And I'm just making clear that there are no easy solutions, you know, and that we are in a transitional stage right now. And we really don't know how to handle it. You know, it's like, oh my God, this is happening, but we don't know what to do about it. And again, I have no answers. I'm just saying that I'm just giving an option that maybe in the future, you know, maybe everything is controlled, and maybe the whole Big Brother situation is going to come true.
So talking about the internet just for a second, in advance to the last couple of albums, no matter if it was Star One or Arjen, you always released some videos on YouTube while giving away some of the guest musicians.
Right.
And so are you usually very active on the internet, and are you also really excited about what the people then write? What kind of comments do they give? Do you spend a lot of time with this?
Very much so, yeah. It's a double-edged sword, you know, the whole internet. I mean, I love it. You know, I'm behind the computer like 5 or 6 hours a day, and I'm talking with fans, you know, and it's a great way to stay in touch with the fans for me, because I don't play live anymore, and it's that's all cool, you know, but the fact that my album was up for grabs, you know, a week before it came out, it's like, God damn it, you know, which idiot put it on the internet? So yeah, it definitely has both sides, but I love the contact with the fans, definitely.
Okay, before the interview, you just said it would be okay for you if we played a song and you just wait in line for a couple of minutes.
Sure.
And you picked Parental Procreation Permit. We already talked about this, so I would suggest just to listen to this song, and afterwards then we go on with the rest from the songs from your latest album, Lost in the New Reel. But here is Parental Procreation Permit.
The We Earth Program.
Was, die hören Fips?
Es ist gut, wenn du weißt, was du willst.
Fips.
Und das Radio lebt.
Parental Procreation Permit von Arjen Lucassen, und genau der ist bei uns am Telefon immer noch. Hi Arjen, are you still there?
Hi again, I'm still there. I was enjoying the music.
So did we. Fantastic.
Never heard that before.
Really? Okay, so I can really recommend this one. Also the other songs on this album we're going to talk about. Well, we just stopped at E-Police, and then it goes on with Don't Switch Me Off. And I have to confess, I didn't quite get this one. It's about, can't tell if she is real. So who is she?
She is a computer program.
Ah, okay, this is a computer program, right.
And a very real computer program. And I think in the future, you know, it will be very hard. Again, you know, what is real, what is not real. I think you can develop feelings for computers in those days. And maybe even computers can develop feelings for us, so that's what that is about. You know, I can imagine, you know, you want to go to bed and your computer says, come on, please, you know, don't switch me off now, you know, I don't want to go to sleep yet, you know. and yeah, that's what that song is about.
Okay, and then he goes on with Dr. Slumber's Eternity Home, and this some kind of reminds me of Final Death, something like there'll be no pain, you won't complain, never again, and there are also others. So, but what role does this song play in the whole concept then?
It's a very funny song about suicide. Really.
Funny song about suicide.
Funny look at suicide. Yeah. Well, it harks back to what I just said. You know, when I'm 164, when people get really old, I can imagine that at some point, you know, you are like, hey man, this is it. I want to go now. You know, I had enough. And I can imagine that in the future, you know, there will be a great way to do that. You know, you go to Dr. Slumber's Eternity Home, and they put some Pink Floyd on your headphones, you know, or Rammstein or whatever you want to listen to, and a legal way to end it all. It's a pretty controversial topic, you know. So I put a lot of humor in it. You know, it's like you're checking in, you're coming in, you're checking out, and stuff like that. I think I can get away with it, you know, because I put it in the future, a couple of 100 years in the future, and I put a lot of humor in it. So
definitely, yeah. Not just this one. There are also some others. We get to this one in two more. In the song number 9. But first, song number 8, Yellowstone Memorial Day. It ends with our technology failed to avoid this event. Mother Nature prevailed, and she'll do it again. So this sounds like kind of struggle. Well, but do you think that? Well, Mother Nature, of course, it sounds like also a creature with emotions, feelings, and thoughts, maybe, that there might be a plan behind this? Or do you think that finally Mother Nature will always prevail, that technology will never be able to prevail nature?
I think so. You know, you see what's happening in the world now, the earthquakes and the tsunamis, and it's getting worse, you know, and there's going to be disasters, whatever we do, and there's nothing what we can do about it. And not just from the Earth, also from outer space, you know, like comets or meteorites that are going to hit us, you know. It's going to happen, you know, sooner or later. And you might know about the Yellowstone volcano in America. Yeah. You know, it's about time that it erupts again, you know, which is a scary thing, because that's going to, you know, millions of people are going to die there. So in my future, that has happened, and it's already become a Memorial Day. So that's a scary view, yeah.
Okay, so I already mentioned, song number 9, Where Pigs Fly, when I listened to the record, the album first, without reading the lyrics and just listening to it along with what is, especially in the beginning, you said Rutger wrote the intros by himself, the quantum mindfuck thing there. It really describes this really well. You picked a lot of celebrities or well-known persons, David Columbus, Shakespeare, and just played around with what Jimmy played the flute. Jimi Hendrix didn't play the guitar, but the flute, and this is also you can hear this in the music. So this is really weird. So what is the story about this? This is that you lose complete control about everything, or you get lost.
I was watching a documentary about the Large Hadron Collider in Switzerland. You know, the particle accelerator, and they were talking about dimensions, and they said, well, there must be. We know of 4 dimensions. You know, the 4th dimension being time, but there must be 11 dimensions. Otherwise, certain equations just don't fit. And I was thinking, like, whoa, 11 dimensions, you know, what do these other dimensions look like? And they were also talking about parallel worlds, you know, that every decision you make leads to another reality. So I was thinking, like, what would this other reality look like? And this is a joke lyric, you know, it's a joke lyric where everything is upside down, you know, where Madonna is a virgin and
Elvis was a vegan and stuff like that.
Elvis was really a vegan, etc. And Columbus discovered India, and Shakespeare couldn't rhyme. So yeah, it was just a funny lyric, but everyone liked it, so I put it on.
I think you could go on forever with.
You could go on forever, yeah, because I continued with Charlie was was a Beatle and Ringo was a Stone, etc. You know, you can go on and on.
Well, maybe we'll find that later.
Who knows?
On further projects, further albums, and then we come to the last song of the first CD, which kind of leads to the end of this part of the story, Lost in the New Reel. This is divided into several parts.
Yeah.
Where finally this Mr. L comes to the conclusion, or that he wants to be. Well, he says, "Please switch me off. I am sure now I don't belong in this new reel." Well. During the album, you get the idea. Well, of course, there are scary things like e-police, but on the other hand, it sounds pretty tempting. So, but why does Mr. L then finally say?
I'm glad you see that, because a lot of people see this as a dystopia. They're like, "Oh, the future's horrible," and I'm like, "No, no, I don't think so." But in this story, Mr. L finds out that they weren't able to save his body. You know, in the process, his body died. They were just able to save his brain. So he found out that his brain was living, and he was, all that time he lived in a virtual world, and he didn't even know. And now they gave him the chance, like, do you want to stay in this virtual world where you can't have any diseases, you can't die, you will live forever, there will be no danger, or do you just want to be switched off? And I can imagine, you know, living in a world like that. It might be nice for a little while, but then at some point, you know, you're like, "Oh no, man, please, please let me be." So that's what happens to Mr. L. That's his fate.
There is an instrumental part in this song called "Blissful Ignorance." The first thing that came to my mind was the movie The Matrix, where this one guy once says, "Ignorance is bliss." He wants to be taken back into the Matrix. So was this also a little inspiration?
Oh
for
yeah,
you?
of course. Yeah, there's a lot of Matrix in here, and yeah, very good. I didn't even think about that. You know that was that was unconsciously.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, what I'm saying there is, if you wouldn't know, if Mr. L wouldn't know, you know, if he would just think he's in that world and he wouldn't know that it's not real, maybe he would be okay with it, you know. But just knowing that it's not real is enough, I think.
Okay, so as I said, well, these were the first 10 songs, and I won't go into details with the last 5, because if I take a look at the clock, we are already coming to the end. But
and we're going to bore the listeners probably. They're like, "Hey man, play us some music. Stop blabbing now."
I will, but I'm pretty sure that some of the listeners might be really interested in your thoughts behind this one. So the album is divided into 2 parts.
Right,
we could say so. There are 5 more songs somehow about the whole concept, but you already said it didn't fit
on CD1. And then I put 5 covers on there as well, and the covers are somehow related to the concept. So they're related to the concept of the future, like "Welcome to the Machine," you know, or "Veterans of the Psychic Wars." They're all sci-fi songs, and they're songs that were very important for me when I grew up. So yeah, it's 5 of my own songs and 5 cover versions on CD too.
So when you finish a project like this, what is going on in your mind then? So meaning, are you already thinking about further music, or are you shutting down the creative process a little bit and then just enjoying what you have done, or is already new stuff coming up in your mind?
It's always a very difficult period, because, you know, the album is finished and it's scary. What are people going to think of it? It's funny, you know, while I'm working on it, I don't give a shit what people think of it. But then when it's going out to the people, I'm like, oh my God. And every negative review you read, it's like, oh shit, they don't like it. You know, and I worked on this for over a year, and I'm pretty empty after that. And, you know, I would love to go into a next project, but it just isn't there yet. You know, I have to wait for inspiration, and that's always a very difficult period. So I'm now very happy that I can still do promotion for it, and I can do all the interviews, you know, because that's, you know, talking about it is good. Talking about yourself is good, you know, and talking about something you're proud of is good. But at one point, you know, the interviews are over and everything is over, and then it'll just be waiting for new inspiration, and that's sometimes kind of scary. But I've learned through the years that inspiration will creep up on you when you least expect it. So I'm going to keep that in mind.
I'm pretty sure that there will be something more. I cannot imagine you without further inspiration. And if you maybe one day you will need some time, but doesn't matter. Well, I think you have to take your time then, so that you just do not put too much pressure on yourself.
No, that's
it.
Once you put pressure on it, it's not going to come.
Okay, you just picked another song. Which one was it? I kind of forgot because I didn't put it in the...
I thought Yellowstone would be a cool
Yellowstone
song. It's a pretty
Memorial.
heavy song, and I'm singing there with a very low voice that I recorded at 6 o'clock in the morning. Otherwise, I can't sing that low. I'm kind of proud of that. Yeah.
Okay, so we will listen to this in 1 or 2 minutes,
Cool.
and we come to the end of the interview. At the end, I warned you a little bit. I always ask my interview partners to help me a little bit pick songs that you would enjoy listening to on a radio show. It can be hard rock, it can be thrash metal, it can be old, can be new. It should not be something from your own bands or your own projects.
No. Well, I've been thinking about it. I thought I'd pick my all-time favorite song, which is Stargazer from Rainbow.
Yeah.
With Dio. I mean, it always has to be there. It's the coolest song ever,
This is a very popular pick, I might tell you.
Oh, I'm sure, because it's the best song ever. No one is ever going to beat that. Then I thought maybe something a little bit more modern. People will think I'm an old fart. I was thinking I'm a big Rammstein fan. I love Dalai Lama. I love that song.
Okay, great.
Very cool song. I love it. And then I thought maybe something new. I was kind of enjoying the new Van Halen album, so maybe I think that song "She's the Woman." I kind of like that one.
Okay, so When I prepared this interview, I came up with so many things I would like to talk about, and I decided, let's stick to the new album. Maybe in, a couple of months or a couple of years, we can get back to you and talk about your musical inspiration and other projects. There is so much to talk about, I guess.
Definitely, yeah.
And I hope you have much fun with further promotion, further interviews, and I hope that even if you might get bad reviews, they won't hurt too much.
They will always hurt.
Yeah.
But it keeps me sharp, It keeps me working even harder, so that's the positive side.
Okay, you please just stay in line for a couple of seconds after the song starts, then I'll get back to the phone, and we'll just say goodbye at this point and come to your pick, the Yellowstone Memorial Day. So, Arjen, thank you very much for being with us.
You're very welcome. I enjoyed it. Good questions, so
thank you very much.
Interesting.
Well, see you next time around. Bye.
Cool, man. Bye.